And let that start recording, and welcome everyone. And we're really excited to be here to chat today about the National Michael Chekhov Association's certified programs. We have certifications that we offer for teaching, for acting, for directing, and for design. And our offerings for acting, directing, and design are newer programs. Our teacher certification track has been around for many years, and really was the first official teacher certification in Michael Chekhov's work offered globally. So we're very proud of that. And our newer programs are based on the successful model of that teacher certification track. And they are sort of variations of that. And we have Susan Schultz here today, who is one of our newly certified teachers, and who got sort of dragged and coerced into directing as part of her teacher certification process.
Now love it. Love it.
So I'm really, really excited. And I just kind of want to start out by um, inviting anyone here to ask me questions about your thoughts and what your interests are, and what is it you'd like to know most about these programs.
I'll start. I'm really interested in the acting certification. I did it previously, obviously, last year, and I was wondering what might be different in relation to just taking the course itself versus what the certification is like.
Great. That's really a good question. And I think it's really exciting when a person has taken the Chekhov training intensive once before they actually come into the a certification track, because I think it's a lot less surprising and overwhelming because the essential distinction between taking a certification track and just taking it as a participant is that there's a set of documents that accompany your experience, which these documents are reviewed and taken into a lot of consideration in terms of your progress. So when you enter the acting certification track, you are, I'm just going to pull up a document that is, let me just see if I can pull it up here while I'm talking. The certification tracks require multiple attendances for the program, and the acting and the directing certification both require attending what we call the Deeper by Demand program, as well as it requires 2 attendances for the Chekhov training intensive as a candidate, and then 1 attendance with the Deeper by Demand. So during the CTI, that's the Chekhov training intensive, you are, as a candidate, tasked with keeping a journal. And in that journal, you want to be documenting and recording as much as you can about your understanding and experience with whatever process or phase we're in. So everyone purchases the Chekhov playbook when they enter the course, and it is filled with essentially what we might call the notes, because we're up on our feet so much that we know you cannot write down everything that is being shared with you. It's an intense amount of pedagogy, you could say. And so this playbook is designed to be able to be your future reference. You go back after the work and you go back to that playbook and you go, oh my God, what did they say? Oh, this is what it is. It doesn't contain, for example, the improvisations. It doesn't necessarily contain all the metaphors and languaging and ideas and perceptions about the particular techniques. It contains the essence, the central learnings, you could say. it also doesn't contain your response to them. And because your work is a very personal process, it's part of your training to note your personal process and to note what surprises you, what speaks to you, what confuses you, what you disagree with, what scares you, what you deeply love, anything that you feel has impacted you, and to make those notes in a way that you can go back and resource them for yourself. And when they're submitted, I review them, and I review them carefully with a perspective that I'm looking to see how you're operating and what is it that intrigues you, and are you understanding things. And I think Susan might even be able to comment that um, when I send you back notes, or will send you back notes, our notes back to you are to affirm your understanding, to expand on anything we sense might be helpful for you to get greater clarification on, and to sort of applaud you for your work. Susan, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback is for me was crucial in cementing what I knew, or to correct if I had something absolutely backwards. So the note taking, I mean, as you guys know, because you do it in classes all the time, it just is that component right there is probably the most crucial part that made me feel confidence that I know this technique. That was the yeah. Yeah.
So that confidence is our primary goal for your certification. That when you go out into the world having a certificate from the National Michael Chekhov Association, it means that you have studied diligently, you have committed years of work, because it will take that amount of time. It'll take you at least 2 years to do it. And it to do it successfully in 2 years will be a really wonderful would be a really wonderful accomplishment. So in addition to taking the notes, you also have a monologue to do, which normally um, the regular participants do not also do a monologue in addition to the knock three times improvisation. So you have the addition of preparing a monologue and presenting that on our improv um, and our knock three times monologue evening. So one of the really interesting things about that is when you come back, like the first time you come under the certification track, we're really looking for you to be able to be up on the stage, taking a monologue and freely applying with great abandon tools in any way, shape, or form. But the second time you come back, we're going to be looking more, as a candidate, we're going to be looking more for you to have taken that work to a newer level. So that first time you present that monologue, it can be completely unveiled, fully expressive, completely random, totally wrong, the way you would never do it. But the second time you're going to want to come back, totally new monologue or same monologue, your choice. But now you're going to want to take the work to a deeper level. Perhaps it's going to be more in alignment um, with the actual text, with an actual context of the character in a scene, or in some way a very different kind of approach to it that shows that you've brought a deeper layer of work and understanding of the work to it. You also will be expected for each session that you attend to submit a flyback paper. And in that flyback paper, it's just great to talk about what your expectations and anticipations were about what your experiences were during the process, and what your hopes and plans and expectations are for your future. And that can, in a sense, summarize a bit of what you have presented in the longer, more random notes. The notes can be photocopies, or whatever of your chicken scratch. It's kind of up to me to decipher it. Or you can transfer those into a doc, typed up, whatever works for you. And that flyback paper does really set out to look at how what you aimed to accomplish during the course, what you feel you did accomplish, and what you will be working forward to. And then on your second attendance, you're going to be expected to bring forth a synth analysis for your character that you're playing in the play that the group is taking up as its project for that session. So if, for example, we were doing Romeo and Juliet, everyone in the group would be doing scenes from Romeo and Juliet. The teacher and director candidates would be, who are there for a second time, would be coming with their preparations to present their synth analysis and lead a synth analysis run through for Romeo and Juliet. You as the actor would be coming with your synth analysis for your character prepared. So you would also, in addition, want to have done some of the, what we would call the directorial overall, so that you can understand how your particular character would fit into an overall directorial concept. So studying and understanding the synth analysis for a candidate becomes one of the most significant differences between a regular participant and a candidate. That synth analysis concept is the most important bridge to application for your whole future. And if you're really committed to bringing Michael Chekhov's work along with you in your acting career, you want to have the confidence to be able to make sure that the work you're bringing into a particular production is a match in terms of its style and its vision, its artistic vision. So being able to create a directorial synth analysis on a modified level so that you can create your specific character synth analysis and SART. So a character SART is creating 9 events that happen to your character, which may or may not be seen because maybe your character doesn't have actual 9 events in the play itself or the film itself. You need to find those, create that life, and you create your what we might call your psychological gesture, your transforming, your moving psychological gesture for each of those 9 events. So you have your plus your before and after event. So your sequence of 11 and your own graph, and be able to superimpose that on a stage and perform it in the same way that the directors direct a SART for their whole cast, moving it there. And you would have in that synth analysis for each of those 9 moments, you would have a line of dialogue so that it has a start point, the line of dialogue, and it has an end point. And then you would move to a new position on the stage where it might happen. So you're getting the experience of creating this true feeling of the whole and the most significant moments of your character. And you're really looking for these questions of, where are my polarities? Where are my triplicities? Where are my transformations? Where are my repetitions? Where are my rhythms? You're asking all these questions. How do I use a prop? How do I use my costumes? How do I use my blocking to clarify who my character is and the rise and fall of their accomplishing and failing in their objectives? Does that make sense? Yeah. So with this, you are, when you go into creating your capstone, you are going to be needing to document. So you need to document your process on roles that you perform. So uh, part of your capstone will be creating your, what we would call our equity principle audition, 2 1-minute contrasting monologues presented live at your presentation. You will need to perform several roles that need to be major roles where you they can be, one has to be on stage at least. They can all be on stage. They can also be on film and stage. Um, and in those, you document your process. So you may or may not be able to video your rehearsals because you have an ensemble and maybe an organization that doesn't permit you. However, you can video, and you should be videoing your own home play. So at home, you're going to, with each of those, you're going to basically go through your chart, and you're going to videotape yourself rehearsing for imaginary body, rehearsing for centers, rehearsing for thinking, feeling, willing, molding, flowing, flying, radiating, working out your PG. And if you're lucky enough to be working with a Chekhov director who will allow you to to work this way, then and record it, then of course, that's highly encouraged. You uh, you will be reviewing those tapes. And this reviewing of your work, reviewing of yourself rehearsing, uh, first of all, building the guts to do it uh, is just a really strengthening thing. And then having the guts to sit and watch yourself without going, "Oh my God, how did it?" But really opening your heart to who you are and how you're working, and to be able to watch it objectively and look at what you're doing. This rewatching the video and reviewing your work is, well, Susan, what do you have to say about that?
It's so it's well, once I got past the cringe, it was it was a celebration to be able to go, am I actually doing the work and giving it dignity and honor, or was I not committing enough? So it was actually a tool to be able to go, can I turn up the dial or down? Yeah.
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 It is, you will teach yourself much more than I can ever teach you when you watch it. And especially when you use our flyback process, which is to always appreciate something great about what you did overall. And, always have a moment that you can say, I really like that part. That part really worked. And then that double stuff where you come up with an idea of, well, now what would I do differently in my next rehearsal, in my next take, how can I double stuff this little Oreo cookie and make it even tastier? So that process becomes really critical for us. This self-review process deepens as you work toward presenting your capstone, which will include a video of your work, of the job that you've done. And on certification day, that's the 7th day of the CTI week, we talk about different acting techniques. We talk about crossing pedagogies. So it will be important for you to attend those days, whereas very often, if you're just coming to participate, the actors might be around for the morning, but they sort of disappear for the afternoon, where we get very talky. But this becomes ever more important to understand how to work with other pedagogies, other ways of acting, how to blend it, because you will be going forward into the world. You will work with many more people who do not know Michael Chekhov than who do. And you yourself will want to have and probably have already been exposed to a variety of other techniques, some of which work very well for you and which you don't want to eliminate. You want to be able to embrace and simply find ways for the Chekhov technique to increase the power of other techniques that you're using. So that's an important concept for the actor and the director. The directors need to really understand how to work with an actor with a different technique and be able to, convey a concept from Michael Chekhov very quickly and be able to help them merge it with whatever way they are working in order to solve a problem. The biggest thing about working for the acting certification is that you want to be able to utilize all of the tools that are there to solve any problem you come up with. And those are going to be problems with auditions, because a large part of your job is auditioning. Auditioning is part of your job. And it's not an option to get the job, it is the job. It is one of the biggest jobs that we do as actors. And so, in addition, for your capstone, you need to create 3 auditions. So not just the equity, the actors equity live EPA contrasting monologues that total 2 minutes, but you also need to submit 3 auditions for 3 different kinds of materials that would be what we would call self-taped auditions. So the other day I got an audition. I had a 6-page audition for a horror movie that I had, like 20 hours to memorize and submit. So that kind of thing, you want to come up with 3 different types, 3 different styles, genres. Maybe it's a commercial, maybe one's a horror movie, maybe one's a, I don't know, a procedural drama, something, but 3 different kinds of auditions so that you can show, and you'll need to be slating and submitting it exactly as if it were a professional kind of audition, so that we want you to be prepared to be able to audition, to book jobs and deliver fully developed roles in a creative and harmonious way for the stage and for the film. So that's kind of the basic outline. Any thoughts or questions?
That answered most of my questions, actually. So I'm good for that, I think, for right now.
Ryan?
Yeah, so you mentioned that for the certification, it was a requirement to attend a Chekhov intensive twice.
Mhm.
I just wanted to ask you about that real quick. So I've had some previous like Chekhov experience at UF. Like I've worked with, I don't know if you know, but maybe Tiza Garland.
Mhm.
And Tiza teaches some Chekhov, and so that's honestly the reason that I'm here, because I very much enjoyed that section and gist of the class. And so in order for the certification, beyond that, it would still be required to attend 2 of the Chekhov intensives. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, and it would, having taken the class with Tiza, who's also one of our certified teachers, you'll be in less of a state of overwhelm. I mean, Anna, I'm sure you can say how intense it is, right? It's really intense. No matter how much you've had it in a particular class under a teacher over a semester, we're doing about 70 hours in 7 days. So it's like really super intense.
You know what I think I might add too is that my experience as well is that I studied the Chekhov technique in grad school for a year and then another 2 years in New York. And then when I came here, it was as if I was hearing it for the first time. I think the difference is that, I mean, and maybe Anna can attest to it as well, is that it's pure immersion with master teachers. Um, Tiza, you know, and myself are teachers, but we're babies when about this stuff. And what I found is that this entire week, it had such a thematic chord of Chekhov's mission and principles that the work was astoundingly different. And I don't know, maybe Anna, you can attest to this as well, but like learning something in class is totally different than the intensive, mostly because you don't get a fucking grade. Oops, this is being recorded. You don't get a bleeping grade, right? And you're just there to be a pure artist. And so the way that it lands on you and the way that you practice might be completely different than anything you've experienced at this point. I don't know. And I don't know how much Tiza covers. I think she covers like maybe a quarter of what the intensive does. I don't know.
I think also going off of that, I think I talked to Ryan about this a little bit beforehand, but it's like, it's so much different to be able to go to a class for 2 hours and do Chekhov and then go about the rest of your day. But like when you're at the intensive, you're doing this for 9 hours, 10 hours straight. And it's just extremely, you have nothing else to focus on but that. And so it's really important because then you're forced to unlock new things as opposed to just like having the escape. Because like you go to lunch and you're there for like 45 minutes and then you have to come right back and be ready to grind and keep working. And it's emotionally laborious, but that's what makes it worth it, I feel like.
Yeah. And in addition to attending the 2 CTIs, the acting and the directing certification requires attending an additional week called the Deeper by Demand. And that Deeper by Demand is normally an additional 5 days following the summer session. And it is during which we go into the peripheral trainings that Michael Chekhov included in his conservatory training. So we go into more speech work based on, we go into the speech work that Michael Chekhov included, which is a speech training based on Rudolf Steiner. We go into eurythmy and we go into devising, and we go more deeply into one or two specific aspects of the technique. So, for example, one time we just went really deeply into psychological gesture. Another time we focused on atmospheres. Another time we focused on what is in To the Actor exercise 12 and 13, which is spontaneity in improvisation. And so during that, we also devise a piece. And so those days the mornings are usually learning these new tools. And everyone needs to have done the CTI at least once because we utilize the synth analysis structures. And in the afternoons and evenings, instead of lectures and learning concepts, we create a play out of nothing and perform it at the end of the week, utilizing the synth analysis tools. And we interweave all of the speech work. Also, we do combat also. So speech, combat, eurythmy, some special aspect of the technique. This coming summer, we're having Sarah Kane come in from England to do more in depth with the speech work. And so that'll be our special focus for this particular summer. We normally offer that course, that DVD, only every other year. Would be happy to offer it every year if we had demand, but it's a newer program and we haven't had enough participants to offer it every single year. But we're ready to offer it every year if we have the enrollment. So right now, the because we only offer it every other year, the acting and the directing certification, which require it, are on a 4-year timeline. So, for example, if you wanted to come into the acting certification track for this this upcoming session, you could come. You could come this year to the program at UF, and you could come to your second CTI in New Mexico, and you could stay for your DBD, and you could complete in basically 6-7 months your in-class work for your certification. If you didn't come to the to the DBD, you could come in 2 years, and you might during that time have developed, you know, all your other aspects of your work, and then you could come and present on the certification day, that 7th day of both times, both sessions of your CTI. If there are directing candidates, you will be the actors. You'll have a session where the director is directing you as an actor. So that director is being is practicing their directing in the same way that a teacher does a practice teaching class. The directors do a practice coaching, and the actors have to be you know, coached. Or the actor does a private rehearsal. So the actor has a 20-minute private rehearsal session that we all sit and watch. So the actor gets up and says, well, or maybe Will Kilroy will say to you, okay, Ryan, I want you to practice developing your psychological gesture for Hamlet. Okay, you got 20 minutes. We're just flies on the wall watching you. Right? Or Anna, like you to explore, come in and show me 2 different imaginary bodies for rehearsal tomorrow for this, you know, for Juliet. And then bang, you've got 20 minutes to come up with, you know, 2 different imaginary bodies that you want to show your director the next day. So it's helping you develop the self-discipline for your home play. So that's a kind of example of what you can expect on that for your personal exploration session. There. So how's that sound?
One more question for you.
Sure.
So also, so you mentioned that part of the certification includes keeping a journal of notes about how your process is going on and how you're experiencing it throughout the 2 CTIs, or at least I know you mentioned one of them. So my question is, if I decided to do my first CTI, my first week of a CTI, would I want to keep a journal for that first week as well as the second week, even if they're like, say, a year apart or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, you're going to keep journals for, and actually you'll also keep a journal for your DBD as well. Part of the DBD is because we're in the DBD, we really see so much of the work that you are doing as an actor is going to be individual for your capstone, because you most likely will not be able to do your project with a bunch of other Chekhov actors. So you're going to be tracking your own personal process as you go through, you know, a couple of roles that you're performing in between these sessions. And as you document all of that, we don't get to see how you are at play with the ensemble. And in the DBD, it's a complete ensemble experience. You're co-creating with everyone. And Michael Chekhov's work, he is aspiring to build a cadre of actors who can all operate out of the same principles in with a really smooth flowing, interacting, harmonious ensemble. So that ability to manage your ego, our actor's ego, to be able to be contributing to the artistic vision, to have your contribution be completely dismissed, ignored, unheard, or fully embraced and celebrated. All we have to be able to hold all, the whole range of that, with equanimity, with beauty and ease and entirety, to be able to lead as a creator, to be able to follow as a creator, to be able to share, to have our work, accepted or have it, discarded, in the same way that images come to us and we play with that image and we discard that image and we ask for another, and to be able to understand that those times when we're embraced doesn't make us any better than those times when somebody else's idea is embraced. So that whole process of struggling as an ensemble to try and create a story and then deliver it in 10 hours of rehearsal or something like that, is we will be looking to see how you handle that, how you experience that. And, more so than being a brilliant creative actor, we are looking for people who are powerful artists and dynamic human beings who bring a kind of joy and creativity into the space. So you might not come up with the best ideas, but the fact that you try somebody else's and bang, their ideas light up when you bring them to life, is going to tell us a lot more than if I'm sitting around pouting because you didn't like my idea, So I'm not going to do my best to let yours shine, whatever. And these kinds of, I've been a professional actor for well over 40 years. And I can tell you that my ensemble ethic has brought me much more work than any individual brilliant moment of my acting. I made a living as an actor, and I did that because I kept the feeling of the whole ahead of my ego. So it's part of Michael Chekhov's path to be able to do that as part of our mentorship of actors. I expect when you go out into the world and your resume says that you're an NMCA certified actor, that directors will come to know that you're a team player, that you're going to be creative, that you're going to be fun to work with, that you're going to be consistent, reliable, and you're going to enhance the project and deliver artistically and humanly. So those kinds of, that kind of attitude is going to be evident to us most prominently in your DVD participation, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm not sure if did you guys get to see at the Hippodrome Lone Star Spirits? It was a show for just a couple of weekends. No, there was an actor there who's a Houston man. I think he got his certification in acting. I don't remember I don't know if he followed through on that. Houston did.
Yeah, he didn't finish, but
He didn't.
yeah,
on that path. Yeah, and I've worked with him at some regional theaters as well. He's wonderful. He is that joyful, creative ensemble. Yeah.
And I have to say his scene with Wesley.
I didn't get to see that, but I heard it was astounding. Yeah.
In the 20 plus years, probably 35 different CTIs, I think it's still the crowning scene. They were just unbelievable. So, you know, there's some amazing work that goes on. And yeah, so it is my hope that we will have more and more Chekhov directors who really understand Michael Chekhov's larger perspective and are able to work with and inspire Chekhov trained actors. So another reason for the certification is that we hope, as we get more and more people aware of Michael Chekhov's work, that when you have that on your resume, it will become a super plus. People will see it and go, I want to work with that actor. That is, yeah. We aim for you to bear that certification, to seek that certification and to earn that certification. When you have the certificate, you can just simply burn it because you so know who you are. You don't need it. Right? Because you have so much confidence that you don't have to name it, you don't have to need it, because you know who you are and you can be that. You be your full artistic self, and fully, you know, fall in love with all the problems that arise, and, you know, find creative ways through them. Be a solution there. One of the things that's in this playbook is a test. There's a test in this. And, you know, it's something I suggest you take. Just, you know, get in the playbook, find that test, take that test. The second test, I mean, the first test is like 16 questions, but the second test is 50 questions. And they're all problems actors face. So, and all the answers to how to solve those problems they're in the book. So when you get your certificate, you should be able to know, you know, just know inside of you how, and whenever these problems arise, that you have the tools and the means to meet them, master them, and turn them into creative impulses. You do need to write a letter of intent to apply for the program. And in that letter of intent, you basically want to share with us what you feel you will gain. Why is it that you would like to pursue this certification? And we do expect during your 1, 2, 3, 4 years of working on this certification that you will remain in contact. We suggest once every 3 months, either entering posts on our NMCA Facebook page or sending emails to the team, or just, you know, reaching out in some way, even if it's to say, you know what, I'm going to be a dental hygienist, but I'm still thinking about acting. So yesterday I worked on changing the atmosphere in the office. You know, so we understand people's lives change and twist, and our environment shifts and takes us in new directions. So, you know, it's quite possible that Halston is just so busy out there being successful with his work as an actor that you know, he doesn't have time to finish up this certification. And in that regard, then his training has served him in every way.
Right? Yeah. If he's working so much, it's doing its job. Yeah.
That's it. So sometimes the task is simply to get you drawn in to a personal commitment for a certain period of time. I can say that of people who enter the programs, the certification programs, those who fail to turn in their session documents on a timely manner are the least likely to complete their certification track. So generally your documents are requested to be submitted within 10 days of finishing that particular session. So you need more time, you ask for more time, but when you Just ask for an extra week, ask for a second extra week, ask for a 10th extra week. But when you stop asking for more time, it means you've forgotten about it, don't intend to do it, and will be probably not fulfilling the program. So we never have a problem extending your time as long as you're communicating with us. But our experience is that if you take too much time between getting your documents together, I will assign you a whole new set of situations that you need to deal with, which means completing the documents you were meant to and creating documents for everything you've been doing in the meantime. So always good to try to factor in when you do take the course, you factor in a week afterwards where you set aside the time to complete your documents. The doing of the documents following your experience is a third layer of that immediate experience. So we have the preparation, we have the action, and we have the sustaining. And that preparing your documents after the action is the sustaining. It brings you back into a review. And as you review, you try to figure out what the heck did I just do and what happened and how was it and where am I? You review and you reteach yourself everything you just learned. So it permeates you more fully. So preparing the documents itself is part of the pedagogical structure of helping you absorb the material as deeply as possible. If that little sperm doesn't keep swimming toward the egg,
Fertilization ain't gonna happen.
birth just doesn't happen, you know? So even though it's, it's out in the world, it is not going on to a future unless you keep swimming.
I like that. That's awesome.
Okay. So that's really, I think sometimes certification candidates are not aware. It just feels like an additional drudgery instead of what it really is, which is a resonating, it's a radiating, it's a deepening of everything that they've experienced so that it will live more fully as they go forward. Other questions or thoughts?
I don't think I have any. I think that answered everything I got. I'm excited to keep thinking about it and potentially pursuing it. It sounds very much like an investment that I don't know why I wouldn't make it if I have the opportunity to. So thank you so much for speaking with us today too.
You're welcome, Anna. Yeah. Ryan, anything more for you?
Yeah. So I guess this is something that I've never done. I have not done a CTI ever. But again, as I said, I am very much interested in what Chekhov's technique has to offer and the stuff that I've learned from it already. I think that for me, I am most interested in the technique for my acting, for sure. I think the idea of using it as a director is very interesting also, but I think I'm most interested in it for acting. And so I guess my question is, since I have never participated in this before, it's and I think this kind of has to go, it kind of goes along with the same question that I asked you earlier. But do you think that, because it sounds like the certification program offers a lot on top of just being a participant in the CTI. It sounds like there's a lot of review, a lot of going deeper, etc. So if I was to just be a participant in a CTI and say I was like, I'm not going to go on the certification tracking, I'm just going to be a participant, would the curriculum that I am doing, even in the first week, be different than if I was on the certification tracking? It would, is that correct?
Only in two aspects. One, you would not be doing it a monologue on
Mhm.
that improv and monologue day. You would be doing the improv, and if you wanted to do a sharing, you could do a monologue or a song or puppet show, whatever you wanted. We have like a talent offering or whatever, um, but you wouldn't be required to do a monologue. And on the last day, you wouldn't be required to attend the full day, and you wouldn't be asked to do a private rehearsal that is witnessed. So you could be there all day, you could sit in, you can get all the content, and you will be given absolutely full love and attention. Anna can attest to that. I mean, everybody's getting the same love and attention and information
Mhm.
in the course. It's just for the one night when we have we have our improvisation and monologues and talent sharing. You wouldn't be doing the monologue, and on the final certification day, we would not be extracting a half hour of our syllabus on that day dedicated just to you.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Cool.
Make
Thank you.
sense? Yeah.
Mhm.
And the other distinction, of course, is the economic distinction. So you can see that that there are additional fees for the certification that are not modifiable. Meaning there's a big amount of investment that NMCA, that Will and I and Charlie are making in you, because we're going to continue to track you for years, and I'm going to spend a lot of time studying your work. Right. I'm spending a lot of time, Will's spending a lot of time reading everything that you're writing, everything that you're submitting, every video, every whatever it is that you're sharing. And you're occupying a part of us. You're like, you're part of a family that we're trying to help grow. And for our participants, well, we love to hear from everybody and everything else, but we're not going to go out and seek you out and say, hey, we haven't heard from you in 3 months. But we will do that if you're a certification candidate up to a certain point, and then we're going to say, okay, you're out of compliance. We love you. If you want to come back, let us know. We'll make an offer. Which is the other part. If someone begins the certification program and doesn't complete it, then they reach a point in their life where they would like to start over. Then we work with each person individually to see where they are and what they've been up to, and what we feel they need to do in order to either start anew or to continue from where they are. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for asking. I'm really happy, and thanks for letting me record this, because I will post it. I think it'll be very useful for other people who might be interested, and I'll look forward to hopefully working with you both, and of course, Miss Susan,
Yeah. Yeah.
in our future. So thank you.
Totally. And
Thank
so,
you so much.
and Ryan and Anna, so reach out later today or tomorrow so I can put you into the scholarship pool if that's something you're, yeah, we'll talk more about that and throw down. And then we've got masks so we can go rob a bank and we'll be good.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Yeah. And we
Susan, this is being recorded. Just so you know.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. Damn it.
we did, we've already done a full CTI with socially distanced, and created lots of really fun modifications of the work. So, which we feel were really still stayed true to the power of the work. So we look forward to sharing that this year, and we look forward to, the spaciousness of the University of Florida's environment. Yeah.
So I wonder, actually, Lisa, can I keep you on? Because I have a microphone question to ask you about.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to stop the recording and then I can ask
Great.
you.
We'll do that.
Perfect.
Ryan and Anna, thank you. And I'll talk
Thank
to
you so much. I'll talk to you guys
Thank you
soon.
both. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
you.